Hey, good morning. Scott Luton, Greg White with you here on
Hey, gang.
today's Supply Chain Now live stream. Greg, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. It is a beautiful day here in the ATL, and I'm really looking forward to this because this is our first global version, really. I mean, the timing is perfect for everyone but the West Coast, pretty much, in the U.S.
That's right. And this is our Supply Chain Trivia Challenge Eastern Hemisphere edition, right? The last couple of
Right.
episodes and challenges we've done in the early evening here in the States. And some of the feedback we got is, hey, I love what you're doing. It's fun, but I can't stay up till 3 a.m. if
Well,
I'm halfway around the world.
our third place finisher last time finished at 3 o'clock in the morning his time. So I hope some of those folks come back, because when they're wide awake, imagine the power.
Right. No kidding. I can't do much at 3 a.m. in the mornings, but hey, this is our Eastern Hemisphere edition. We've got a great supply chain trivia challenge teed up.
Yeah.
We should say, the reason we're doing this, right? Because these are some challenging times, and it's not lost on us. And in fact, Supply Chain Now, our team released our statement yesterday, and we won't go through that here today. But this is built. This entire supply chain trivia challenge is built to serve a need that's been identified in the market, to de-stress and decompress and provide some fellowship, and frankly, as we've seen play out, give folks the opportunity to build bridges across the global supply chain profession and community. And that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I mean, we built this for the reason of overcoming the difficulty of the pandemic and seismic societal disruption, now with the unrest that's going on, and everyone seemingly united around the world around fairness, right, and treating people right. I think this is a great, this is a great vehicle for that.
Yeah, agreed.
Sport brings people together, right? So this is as near as we've got to sport right now.
Yep. Well, we should talk about our partners for today's Eastern Hemisphere edition of our Supply Chain Trivia Challenge, and that is one of the best supply chain organizations around, the SAPICS organization, which is based in South Africa. They're doing great things across the African continent and beyond. And we have got a special guest as folks are tuning in, and we see a bunch of comments here, and we're going to get to those in a minute, and we're going to kick off the trivia in just about 5 minutes or so. But we wanted to bring Jenny Froome in, who is the COO of the SAPICS organization, just to take a couple of minutes and say hello and make sure folks know how to engage with SAPICS. So Clay, let's bring her in.
Sure. That's so exciting.
Don't you love that, Jenny?
It's just so exciting.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Hi. Great to connect with you. Really enjoyed the pre-game conversation, and you're always such a pleasure to collaborate with, Jenny.
Thank you. I can't thank you enough for this opportunity. I said it in jest that the timing was wrong for us, and there you are, you reacted, and here we are, and hopefully we've got a great audience from South Africa and also the other African countries that are in the time zone. Well, everybody should be, actually. I know that there were some people from Nigeria and from Senegal who hopefully we're going to join in. So fingers crossed they're all here. And we are an organization that is passionate about community building. And when I met Scott and I saw what you guys are doing at Supply Chain Now Radio, it just resonated with me that this is a platform that we want to share what you're doing with our community. And you've been great in enabling me to be able to share what we do on your platform. So it's been a great collaboration so far, and I look forward to doing more of it. But as the professional body in supply chain management, we just want people to understand the importance of the supply chain as a profession. And we're passionate about the development of youth in the profession and trying to do something about this skills gap that we all around the world are subject to the shortages that there are. So, you know, together, and everyone gets so bored when I say it, but team is really together, everyone achieves more. And it's the only way we can do it. So from our little spot down at the very tip of Africa to your enormous continent, then we're just delighted to be a part of this.
Yeah, well we're glad to have you. I mean, we've seen what you can do. You've been on the show with us before, pre-me, actually. So you and I have not met in person, right? I think today was the first time we've actually live spoken, right? So really appreciate your participation. Love what you're doing there. Love that you're not just South Africa, but full continent focused. And I think this will help create reach throughout the continent and probably the world. I mean, I can tell you that we've already got people sounding off from India and Pakistan and farther east yet. So we've kept the time right so that everyone is near awake, though some people might be close to bedtime.
Hey, I'm only on my third cup of coffee, so I'm still half asleep. But, you know, kidding aside, y'all probably saw our audience that are tuned in, and I really wish I get out to all the comments. Jenny, you're getting a lot of hellos from, as Greg mentioned, around the world. But I bet our audience, I know Amanda and Clay, who are just off screen, in the last 3 minutes, they get why Jenny is such a bright spot in industry and she brings so much to the table, and it comes from an earnest and genuine spot. So, Jenny, we're going to get a chance to dive into that tomorrow morning as we interview you and Dominique, and we're going to learn a lot more. And Greg, of course, you'll be part of that. So audience, stay tuned as we get a deeper dive update on all the great things that Jenny and SAPICS is up to. But today is all about supply chain trivia.
Yeah.
So Jenny, thanks again. Are you going to compete?
Thank you. Oh, of course.
Okay. All right.
Look out, people.
Well,
no threat.
So what we're going to do now, Jenny and Greg, and to all of our audience, if you have not registered yet, right, we're using a third-party platform to run trivia. And you need to make sure you register. You can go to crowd.live, enter that code K09QA, and then you'll be plugged in. I think we've got, I don't know, probably 50 folks or so already plugged in, ready to register. We're going to kick off the game in just a minute. But before we do, Jenny, we're going to have you stick around for the ground rules so it's more official, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So first off, Greg and I, you know, we've added this standard disclaimer because the competition is fierce, but Greg and I will serve as the final judge and jury for any kind of questions that may come up out of the competition. So we'll have the final say so. And of course, we have got a quite an honorable team of guest judges in case we need to get the adults involved. Right, Greg?
Right. We can call up to the booth in New York if we need replay and consult with them. Overwhelming evidence is required to overturn any call, of course.
That's right. That's right. So again, to all the folks, all the comments coming in, make sure you register on the platform, crowd.live, and enter that code, and you'll be ready to go. All we need is first name, last name, and your email, I believe. Okay. Smartphone research is not allowed. So this is all about the honor system. So please don't use your smartphone as we go through supply chain trivia. We've talked about where folks register. Let's do a quick check and see how many folks we have got. Okay. Yeah, they're coming in well. We are offering prizes for first, second, third place, just like we did last time. Gift cards. I think the top winner will take home $200, Greg. They're taking
US
our money.
Dollars, right?
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, that's not an insignificant prize in certain parts of the world, right? So it's worth fighting for. Well, I don't mean fighting. Actually, that's another disclaimer. No fighting, no elbowing, no cross-checking. Pass interference will be called.
All right. We miss our sports for sure. All questions are multiple choice. No bonus points for answering fast. So we're going to give everyone about 2.5 minutes or so to answer each of the questions. So take the full extent of that. We'll say last call as we get to the end of that time frame, and just be careful, because as I understand it, whether you're playing on your mobile or you're playing on your computer, once you select the answer, it's locked in. There's no changing. So read and evaluate the question and all the answers. And some questions are worth more. So I think as we start, each question's worth about 100 points. And as we move into the game, I think we finish up at around 175 points, I believe. But regardless, the latter questions are worth a few extra points there. Okay. So let's bid Jenny Froome adieu, at least from the live stream. I know she's going to stick around. She's going to be one of our fierce competitors. But Jenny, is a pleasure as always. And we look forward to interviewing you tomorrow and sharing your thought leadership with our audience.
Thank you, guys. Come on, Africa. Do us proud.
That's right.
You're well represented. Right. We'll talk soon, Jenny.
Thanks,
Jenny. Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. So we are going to remove Jenny from the stream, and then and so everybody, hey, this is like the Wild Wild West. This is our wildest live stream because we're using about 3 or 4 different platforms. We've got a lot of audience participation and comments, and we're going to try to get to those as we work our way through the trivia contest. We're going to get ready to start. So make sure.
I have a quick comment, Scott.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I saw Andrew Goldklang. Let's see, where was he? I saw him, who was talking smack, guaranteeing a top. Oh, Benjamin Goldklang. Sorry, guaranteeing a top 5 finish. He's out on a run right now. So I say we start quick.
Yes, that's right. Absolutely.
Let's teach him a lesson about time management.
With that said, Greg, let's start. Let's get the game going. Are you ready? All right. We've got our projector view. Let's see if this switches over and works right. Here we go with question 1.
Man, we aren't messing around. Yeah. Okay. I've got it. Yep.
All right. Perfect. Greg, read it to our audience if you would.
Yes. This automotive manufacturer recently announced a massive restructuring initiative that will result in 15,000 employees being laid off in Europe, by the way. Who is it? Is it A, Mitsubishi, B, Tesla, C, Ford, D, Renault, or E, Honda? Enter your answers now.
Answer now. Answer now. You've got about 2 minutes, as we all know, with the live stream, especially a global live stream. We got a little bit of a delay, so we're not trying to cut anybody out. So here is where Greg and I come up with whatever banter we can.
Filler.
Actually, you know what we'll do? Let's go through these comments we've got here. Yeah, Greg will start dancing and entertain all of us.
Chair dancing.
Let's see here. Hey, our friend Patrick Kelly, who's got an outstanding podcast on the world of fruits and vegetable and produce, right?
Oh, right. The produce podcast. That's right.
So we love that. And hello, Patrick.
He's hopefully you're pro. I mean, comes from the industry, right? I mean, there was a family business there, I believe, and also worked in industry after that as well. So he knows of what he speaks.
Yep.
The
second place finisher, Haride, who is going to be at Georgia Tech here in Atlanta, I think in the coming months as he earns a graduate degree.
Yeah. Yes.
So welcome back.
Yeah. I can't remember if I owe him lunch or he owes me lunch, but we're going to have lunch. So and he was our tied for second finisher last week, right?
Agreed.
Tied with Tony from EAL Green. So
that's right. All right, let me check the time, everybody. And again, this is what these trivia contests are like. Lots of moving pieces. We want to acknowledge and recognize as many of our attendees, whether they're participants, fierce participants, or if they're just watching and observing. We get some of that. Let's see here. We've got about 30 seconds to go. So get your questions in. We've got about 75% of the folks have answered. So 30 seconds. Here we go. And while we do that, we'll recognize a few other folks. Stefan is tuned in. I wonder where Stefan's calling in from. I know he's been on an earlier live stream. So Stefan, tell us where you are tuned in from. Great to have you here. And one more before we call final answer is our friend Gary Harper.
Yeah.
Gary, how you doing? Great to have you here.
So
All right.
strangely, I have a good friend named Stephen Mao, also from right here in Atlanta. So,
all right, final answers. Get them in. You got 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right.
Okay, so let's.
Benjamin said he made it. By the way, he made it back from his run. Don't want to put him on camera.
Yep.
Probably a little sweaty.
Let's see here. We are going to move to the next question, and I will show rankings here in a minute. So, Greg, go right ahead.
This company was recently named #1 in the Gartner 2020 Supply Chain Top 25. Was it the Coca-Cola Company, Starbucks, Apple, Cisco, or Amazon? So this company was named May 18th, I believe, as the #1 in the Gartner top Supply Chain Top 25. A, Coca-Cola, B, Starbucks, C, Apple, D, Cisco, or E, Amazon. Get those answers in. Uh-oh, I'm not hearing Scott. Are you guys hearing Scott?
Oh, the mute button always gets me. That and the coffee. Well, hey, what I was sharing.
No, I need coffee.
That's right. What I was sharing is get those answers in. You got about 2 minutes here. Let's recognize a few more of our attendees. Hey, Latia Thomas, who gave an outstanding interview. She is graduating from Morgan State University, I believe, in December. And she's got about 5 projects going on, from working a job while she's going through college to interning to I think she's still taking classes through the summer. So anyway, great interview, great perspective, and it's great to have Latia with us here today.
Hey, Scott, we got some feedback. Do we need to show the answer so that people get their points?
Yes. No, we don't. But what we're going to do is
that they got their points. Got it.
Right.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
That is right. And you know what we should do? I may have pressed the wrong button. That happens from time to time. We can talk about the answer from the first question. And so that question, as folks are still getting their answers in on question number 2 here, the question was about the automotive manufacturer that recently announced about 15,000 employees being laid off. And the answer was Renault. And Renault, as we found out this week, Renault's in a very interesting 3-way alliance with Nissan and Mitsubishi, Greg.
Yeah. And both and all of whom are sort of pulling back into their regional strengths, right?
Yep.
Mitsubishi pulling back into Southeast Asia, where apparently they're strongest. Renault in Europe. So everyone is kind of, I think a lot of companies are refocusing. I just saw an article about Coca-Cola and Mondelez, who are both simplifying their supply chains and reducing some of their SKU counts as well. And we heard a lot about that around the difficulties in getting paper products into stores, people cutting SKUs there.
Really?
Yeah. How many types of paper towels do we really need?
True. That is true. All right. So last call for answers. Last call, 10 seconds. And we're going to try to share when we close out this question here. We're going to try to share the right answer, and then we'll do an update on the rankings. So last call. You got 5 seconds. Greg, count it off.
4, 3, 2, 1. You're out.
And there we are. All right. So let's check out the correct answer. Did everybody see that? There we are.
I'm not
Cisco.
seeing. Oh, there we go. Oh, I like that.
Yep. Cisco came in number 1, followed by a top 5 list of the Gartner 2020 Supply Chain Top 25. Colgate Palmolive was number 2. Johnson & Johnson number 3. Schneider Electric was number 4. And Nestle came in number 5. And all of those companies have been, they hang around the top 10 for years, right, Greg?
Yeah, and some companies, some of the ones listed here are what are called masters because they were in the top 5 so often that it was excluding other companies from being able to be in the top 5 or even the top 25. So,
yep.
Once you have been in the top 5 for 7 out of 10 years, you are considered a supply chain master. Good discussion, by the way, that we had around that. So listen to that episode with Mike Griswold, who was the arbiter of that contest, and get some thoughts for how you can improve your own supply chain.
That's right. Okay. We've got about 15 or 16 participants roughly that all have gotten the first 2 answers correct. So congrats all there. A few folks, Kobe, Naza, Andrea. Let's see here. I'm not a big fan of this rotating cycle at the bottom, Greg.
Yeah.
It's throwing me off. Kyle Reeves, a regular listener on the live stream or participant. Great to see you there. And 2 for 2. All right. So let's keep driving, Greg. Let's move to number 3 here. Okay. Air cargo containers. Talking about air cargo. Hot, man. What a year that's been for that industry. Last 10, 12 months for that industry. Air cargo containers typically fit into 3 categories. Which of the following is not a category? So please answer now. And we'll start our timer. All right. So Greg, let's if we can, say hello to a few other folks here. Teresa is dialed in from Michigan. So hello, Teresa. Great to have you here. Greg, you've got a few ties in Michigan, right?
Yes, I do. Go Blue. So my father worked for Kmart, if anyone remembers that company. So lived up there for a while and spent a lot of summers and winters in that area.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, my next older brother is a huge Red Wings fan, and long suffering now. They were really good in the days when we were kids. Steve Yzerman and Probert,
famous NHL hockey, Detroit Red Wings Hall of Famers. You mentioned a couple. We've got one, JT, James Tubb from South Africa. Hello, James. Great to have you here. And we've got another Hall of Famer, JT. He's been on the show a couple times.
Yeah.
Our friend, Jonathan Townsley. So, hey, Jonathan, hope you're doing well.
Great to see
you here.
Yeah, he may be doing virtual schooling with his kids there. Or he may be working his day job. Right? I guess other people have to do that.
Yep. All right. So I've got one other comment I'll share. So again, get your answers in. You've got about 30 seconds to go. We had an idea from Latia. And just to our audience, the platform's running a little bit slow, at least on my end. So we're challenged a little bit with getting to the comments here. Here we go. I want to share this. So Latia came up with an idea. Can we get a student trivia challenge? Love that idea. And we're going to act on that. And we've got a project in the works, Greg, where we're going to do a team challenge, right?
Right. Yeah. So imagine if you go up against Cisco's supply chain team.
That's right. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So let's, we got 5 seconds here to get final answers in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Answers are closed. We'll share the right answer. Of course, the 20-foot equivalent TEU and the 40-foot equivalent FEU are much more common in the ocean shipping. I read an interesting article. I'm not an air cargo expert, but I've read an interesting one where there's been more and more calls to standardize the shipping containers that are part of the air cargo world. So we'll see how that plays out.
Well,
All right, really. Go ahead, Greg.
Something more standard than boxes and seats, which is one of the ways that air cargo is being shipped these days.
That is right. All right, so let's show our leaderboard real quick. Okay, Kobe, Andre or Andrea? That always throws me for a loop.
Yeah.
Kyle, all still perfect. It looks like we have got once this rotation, let's say 10. We have got about 10 folks that are still perfect through 3 questions. All right, let's keep driving. Number 4. Do y'all see that question there? Perfect. Greg, do the honors, please.
I will. One of my favorite topics, a landmark publication in the world of supply chain, who wrote the book, Materials Requirements Planning, The New Way of Life in Production and Inventory Management, which was published in 1975. Who wrote that book with such a compelling title, Materials Requirements Planning, The New Way of Life in Production and Inventory Management?
Hey, if that title won't get you running through walls, I don't know what will, Greg.
It was a Joseph Orlicki, B. Carol Patak, C. George Plossel, D. Chad Smith, E. Elaine Merrill Brown.
Now, we should add, kidding aside, this was really a landmark publication in the industry. And each of these individuals we have here have been thought leaders or are thought leaders in this space based on what they do. And there's a mix of folks in these answers. So I better stop there before I foreshadow too much.
What are you doing?
All right, folks.
We know this. It's not. It's a great title and a great book, but it is A Tall Boy Scout Playing Tennis, which is also a supply chain book.
Really? Who wrote that?
Robert G. Brown, who was the answer to a question on our last trivia challenge.
That's right. All right, so I'm going to share a few other comments here. Again, folks, get your answers in. You've got about a minute here. Let's see here. We have got Blaze.
Man, we are everywhere. Singapore, Ireland. Dan Boone from Sing. I'd ask you what the weather's like, Dan, but I already know.
Stefan is in the Big D, Dallas, Texas. So hello, Stefan. I was reading about the a train project there, high-speed rail that's going to be connecting, I think, was it Houston, Dallas? And it's going to be running continuously, I believe. So neat project there. So I hope you're doing well, Stefan. All right, let's recognize just another quick comment here. Oh, Philip had the comment. Philip got the feedback that you're right. We didn't reveal the right answer for the very first question, but you got your points.
Yeah.
So that was a misclick by me here. So, but you did get your points. But thanks for your feedback, Philip. Really appreciate that.
You're gonna have to go back to game show host school.
I am, and get certified.
Yeah. That's right, Jim. Tell him what he's won.
Yeah. Tevin Taylor, the legendary Tevin Taylor, is with us here today. He's also in the great state of Texas. Tevin, we were sharing with Jenny one of our recent experiences in your state. We'll share that offline, and we'll make it an anonymous story so the folks that were the guilty parties will be protected. All right. Last call. Let's do 5 seconds here. Ready to do it, Greg?
Yep. 4, 3, 2, 1. You're done.
All right. And correct answer, Joseph Orlicki, a legend in the space. Materials Requirements Planning, The New Way of Life in Production Inventory Management, which has gone through several editions because it's still utilized so often. All right.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to look at the latest edition of that.
Please do. It is a
I'm not kidding. I want to see what it still says.
All right. Let's see if we still have some perfect. Yeah, we still have about 8 perfect. Can y'all see that?
Yep. I can see it.
Okay. 8 perfect scores here. So, hey, it's going to be, as always, a fierce competition. Let's move to answer 5. Answer 5. We've heard a ton, of course, about the bullwhip effect in supply chain in recent months. Hey, what was the bullwhip effect initially known as? Answer now. Answer now. This is going to be a quick. We're going to hold this to 2 minutes exactly so we can keep moving. We've got 13 questions to get through, about 8 more. All right.
Scott needs another cup of coffee, so we've got to hurry.
That's right. All right. So, we're about halfway in, so we're not far. We're just about where we need to be. We're a couple questions behind. That's okay, though. Rolf is asking, he's telling Tevin to say hi to Walker, Texas Ranger from South Africa. Love that.
Walker and Texas Ranger.
That's right. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Stefan was talking about that project. Houston and Dallas is what a high-speed rail is going to be, but it's been planned for many years. So let's see if it's going to happen soon. That will be interesting. I wonder how far apart are those two cities? You think, Greg? 3-4 hours?
That's a great question. Texas is a huge state, so I'm not exactly sure.
Okay. Victor is saying hello from Ireland. Hope you're well, Victor. And I hope your trivia contest is faring well as well. And Fred Tolbert, the legend. Jenny, you may know Fred. I'm not sure. Fred was a SAPICS chapter president and regional president or manager a little while back. I call him. I think he's an SAPICS Hall of Famer. He still disputes that, but Fred, hope you're doing well. Looking forward to your upcoming episodes with us. And he's mentoring Team Supply Chain at the University of Georgia.
Yeah, so he's got his own student team already. So be careful, Latia. You just might get what you ask for.
That's right.
He's already got a team built.
That's right. The
New England Patriots of supply chain.
All right, last call to get all the questions in here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. The answer, of course, was the Forrester effect, the predecessor, which was what the bullwhip effect really was initially known as. And let's check out the rankings. Let's see if that threw anybody for a loop.
Few folks. One.
Yep.
Seems.
So we got 3. I think I counted 7 folks are still perfect. So and the perfect score is the 550. So let's keep driving here. Question 6. Greg, take it.
Yep. Neuro, which is a self-driving delivery startup, announced a partnership with this pharmacy to test prescription deliveries in Houston, Texas, after you get off the train, utilizing its fleet of autonomous vehicles. Was that pharmacy A, Walmart, B, CVS, C, Walgreens, D, Rite Aid, or E, Medicine Shop International?
And that is where I got most of our prescriptions growing up as a kid. I didn't realize just how big of an organization that answer E was. All right. So we'll keep driving, folks. You got about 2 minutes. Again, no smart devices are allowed. It is the honor system. And we'll give you a bunch of dirty looks if we find out that you are breaking integrity here.
We may apply it directly to your cell bill if you win with
That's right.
Cell phone.
Which we have access to, right?
Right.
All right. So Stefan says about 4.5 hours between Houston and Dallas. Good to know if you stick to the speed limits. Greg will get there in about 2.5 hours flat.
By air.
See here. That's right.
Never speed. Never.
Is it Salipa, maybe? She
Probably
says Salipa. Besides toilet paper and PPEs, what are some other products that had bullwhip effect at the start of COVID-19? That is a great question.
It is. In fact, I went to the grocery store yesterday, and you can see, I took a few pictures. You can see the bullwhip effect in full swing or full smack, whatever you want to call it, occurring as pantry stuffing or whatever. Somebody came up with a great term. Pantry stuffing has maximized. You can see the shelves starting to fill up and not be depleted as rapidly, or in some cases at all. In fact, there was toilet paper and paper towels on the shelves and plentiful in my local Kroger store?
But great question. And I'm trying to think about what other observations I saw. We're notorious. And Amanda, what is the name of this? Instacart. So Instacart, which God bless those folks at Instacart, because in our neck of the woods, it never stopped. I mean, it's as we talk about regularly, Greg, all the brave people across end-to-end supply chain in the physical retail locations, in the warehouses, in the fulfillment centers, transportation, you name it. But all right, I wanted to say a quick shout out to Gary Harper is still hanging around for a top 20 finish. Love that, Gary. I love that outlook. Benjamin, a lot more competitors since last time. Love that competition. That could be Joe Namath is that Joe Namath prediction. I don't know, that kind of foreshadows maybe his standing. I don't know, Greg. We'll see.
A comeback.
All right. So the last call to get your answers in here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're going to share the right answer. CVS Pharmacy is who is, at least in this case, doing some innovative things with neuro. So if you are in Houston, Texas, that's going to be, Houston's one of the themes here today. Look for these vehicles hitting your roads in the weeks to come. All right, quick check of the rankings. We still have 7 perfect scores. So congrats to all these folks getting it right. And we're going to move on to question number 7. Greg, do the honor.
In the world of supply chain, what does the acronym SCORE, SCOR, stand for? Supply Chain Order Replenishment Model, Supply Chain Order Return Model, Supply Chain Optimal Reliability Model, Supply Chain Operations Reference Model. So
answer now.
Yeah, they're in the world of supply chain. What does the acronym SCORE stand for? A is the Supply Chain Order Replenishment Model. B is the Supply Chain Order Return Model. C, Supply Chain Optimal Reliability Model. And D, Supply Chain Operations Reference Model.
Excellent question. Okay. Hey, Rolf was talking
go.
about spray bottles, which makes sense. Memory is chiming in with over-the-counter medications sold out at local pharmacies. Woolworths ran out of my favorite marshmallows. Everybody's making s'mores, maybe, right? I know we have. Let's see here. Yeah.
Is it s'mores or is it s'mores? Which is it?
Beats me. I will defer to Amanda. She is our s'more king with 3 kids here around the house, and they're big s'more fans or store fans or what have you. All right. Stefan says, hey, did anyone else notice that the quality of produce went down significantly? Much more damaged and spoiled goods. That is an interesting comment. And if Patrick Kelly is still hanging around, I'd love to get him to address that and with his observations. Good question there, Stefan.
We have 2 stores within a couple miles of our house, Publix and a Kroger right across the street from one another. So it's pretty easy for us to compare. And I think they were both doing still getting good produce, right?
Yeah, we were too. We had a tomato pie last night, as a matter of fact, and the tomatoes were outstanding. Blas, I believe if I'm pronouncing that right, he saw the produce issue happening in the UK. And Gary experienced some of the same. So we'll have to take a deeper dive in that.
I may have to look closer at the produce section.
Right. Well, again, it's been I haven't been into a grocery store in probably, as weird as it sounds, a couple months because we've leaned heavily on the delivery.
I wish I could say that.
Okay. Last call. So get your answers in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, here we go. Correct answer. Supply Chain Operations Reference Model is SCORE. And if my history is right, SCORE was part of the Supply Chain Council, which SAPICS and now ASEM acquired a few years back. So little trivia there for you. All right, so let's look at the rankings. All right, we have still 7 folks that are perfect. Man, Greg, I'm glad we got a tiebreaker question this time.
We do, yes, and one that can't be found on the internet.
That's right. All right, so let's move right along. Question 8, according to the United Nations, how many countries make up the African continent? Answer now. All right.
There are some people here who should know that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. So a few comments here.
Gary says mangoes have been good.
Always. It's how I think of mango. I'm thinking of that great Saturday Night Live skit in the mid-90s. I can't remember the guy that was in that role. I think Chris Kattan, if that makes sense. But mangoes have been superb. Okay. Stefan says, usually shop Walmart and what is HEB? You familiar with that?
H.E. Butts. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So that was one of the early strong performers during the pandemic. They actually did a really, really good job. That's a big, relatively big Texas chain. H.E. Butt and his 2 daughters, Ima and Yura.
Are you? Do you really know that, or are you cheating?
I have no idea. It's just a joke around the Midwest.
I'm sorry. So to our audience, if you tuned into our podcast, you got me on that one, Greg. Greg hails from Wichita, Kansas. So he while I spent 2 years there with the Air Force, he knows a heck of a lot more about the Midwest culture than I do, and evidently H.E. Butts is part of. It's a regional thing, huh?
Yeah, and a really good chain. So, one of my previous companies, we did a lot of work in food distribution, grocery, and food service restaurants, and HEB was one of the companies we did business with. So,
okay,
really well-run chain, really unfortunate name, and they were smart to change it to HEB.
All right. Man, the things you learn on supply chain trivia. Hey, so last call to get your answers in for question 8 here. We're going to go and show the answer in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. The correct answer is 54. 54 countries make up the African continent according to the United Nations. Let's see who got that right. We have... we still have 7 folks.
Scores. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll keep driving. All right. So the next question, Greg, take it.
Yep. The theory of constraints is a management paradigm that views any manageable system as being limited in achieving more of its goals by a very small number of constraints. TOC was introduced by the 1984 book, The Goal, by A, Jim Collins, B, Eli Goldratt, C, Craig White, D, Barbara Corcoran, E, Nezuko Mayeka.
Answer now.
Theory of constraint is a management paradigm that views any manageable system as being limited in achieving more of its goals by a very small number of constraints. TOC was introduced by the 1984 book, The Goal, by one of these 5 amazingly brilliant people. Or me.
All right. I got to share this comment with you, Greg. Tevin, who is a Cowboys fan,
I saw that.
is talking about the Kansas City Chiefs roster. And so to our audience, Tevin and Greg are football rivals, American football rivals. Greg is a notorious Chiefs fan, and Tevin is a notorious Dallas Cowboys fan, which it's been a little while since we saw Dallas win a playoff game, right?
Does Dallas still have a football team?
Just kidding. Hey, just kidding. All right. Let's see. So you got about 30 seconds to get your answers in on TOC. Get those answers in, please. Let's see here. And please don't answer the question in the comments. I don't think anyone's done that yet, which is good. So James, things are going well in Atlanta, all things considered. Tough times, right? We've all seen some of the protests and on top of pandemic, just a unique situation it is, but all things considered, we're getting through it together. And while that sounds cliche, for a small business like ours, nothing could be truer. So, and we're trying to do our part as well. As we all know, some things have to change.
Well, this is the seat of the civil rights movement, right? So it has a long history of people of every nationality, color, creed, whatever, working together. So
that's right.
We had a blip, particularly on Friday, but people are coming together.
Yeah, that's right. Great question. All right, so back to, on a much lighter note, Jenny was wondering just how long it'd take to talk about football. That's right. Part of that's probably because of the big football fans. We both are American football fans, but we're all missing our sports, that departure we all need. Which one of the reasons we're doing this to offer the departure.
Right. Because watching marble racing got boring.
That's right.
And
all right, final answer. Get those answers in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Correct answer, of course, Eli Goldratt. Great book. Also still referenced regularly, still used regularly, the goal. So let's look at the rankings real quick. 6 folks. Okay, 6 folks still have perfect answers. Okay, 6 folks. All right, let's move right along. Greg, take the next question. Or actually, let me take this one. Let me take this one. This was submitted by one of the master instructors at SAPICS.
Right.
The formula, the calculate, the reorder point for an independent demand SKU is one of the 4 answers. Demand in the lead time plus customer orders, the forecasted demand in the lead time minus the safety stock, the quantity of future orders plus safety stock, lead time demand plus safety stock. Answer now. All right.
Gary Harper may be a Cowboys fan.
I think you're right.
Really?
Hey, going back to the bullwhip effect earlier and some of that great commentary from the audience. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but this audience member is in Brazil, I believe, and comments the supply chain.
Tenure, probably somewhere in that range.
Say it again.
Mateus Tenure.
Okay. The supply chain of some medical devices is suffering from the bullwhip effect as well. Since the hospitals are full, a lot of non-urgent surgeries have been canceled in the last few months, and we've seen that locally as well. All right, get your final answers in. We're going to move quick on this. We're going to go 10 more seconds here. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last call. And the correct answer, lead time demand plus safety stock. Lead time demand plus safety stock. All right. So let's see the leaders. All right. We still have 3 perfect scores of 1225. 3 perfect scores, 1225. All right. So we're going to move to question number 11. Okay. Did it flip over?
This question, I've got it. The players can see it.
Okay.
I can read it. Edward Deming popularized, that's English, the Plan, Do, Check Act continuous improvement cycle, but it was originally developed by and known as the A. Shewhart cycle, B. Ono cycle, C. Shingo circle, D. Patak principle, E. Ishikawa cycle. So Edward Deming popularized the Plan, Do, Check, Act continuous improvement cycle, but it was originally developed by and known as the A. Shewhart, B. Ono, C. Shingo, Deep Attack E. Ishikawa.
Love it. And we got a question, and sorry, everybody, we can't get everybody's comments and questions. We love that. It's one of our favorite parts of any of our live streams. Fred asked from the last question, was this as close to a forecasting question as we're going to get?
So
Yes.
Fred's asking for topical trivia, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we would be, if we set up a forecasting trivia challenge, they'd be clamoring at the doors. We would max out, wouldn't we, Greg?
Yeah, no doubt.
It's a very important part of supply chain.
Yeah, no doubt. And I know he picked up some ground on that one.
Yes. Benjamin Goldklang talks about how I think the last question was on his supply chain operations final. Cutting some corners there. Good stuff. Hey, Jenny, be gentle to her fellow South Africans. I think some of the football rivalry.
Comparing rugby and American football. So.
Yes. Hey, it's all too rough for me. I was not blessed with too many athletic genes there, Greg, or academic. I might as well come out and be honest. All right, let's see here. All right, we're going to do 10 more seconds here, right? 10 more seconds on this question. Question 11. Which Plan, Do, Check, Act, which was the predecessor? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the correct answer, of course, the Schuhart cycle. Good stuff. Let's take a quick peek at the rankings leaderboard. Still 3 perfect scores here. We got Harede has moved up quite a bit. We got plenty of folks in the top 20. All right, so let's move on to number 12. Here we go. Greg, do the honors.
Yes, the largest country in Africa in terms of 2020 population is Nigeria, which has a population of over 206 million people. Of the following countries, which one is not in the top 5 countries in Africa in terms of 2020 population? Is it A, Egypt, B, Ethiopia, C, Democratic Republic of the Congo, or D, Uganda? Which of these 4 countries is not in the top 5 in Africa in terms of 2020 population? Egypt, Ethiopia, Democratic Republic of Congo, or Uganda?
Answer now. Answer now. All right. So let's see here. Gary Harper talks about like taking my SAT many years ago. If in doubt, the answer is A. Love that. Always. Let's see here. All right. So get your answers in. We're going to see if we're going to have to use a tiebreaker for the first time. We might come up with a couple tiebreakers because we really want to be as fair as possible here. And we still have a fierce competition as we expected.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're going to do 10 more seconds here on this question. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the correct answer is Uganda. Uganda is the correct answer. And let's see. We still have 3 people at the top. Okay. Kobe, Andrea, and Daniel still with a perfect score of 1525. All right. Let's move on to question 13. All right. So the Suez Canal is one of the most important waterways in the world. Of course, a current expansion is taking place leading to the new Suez Canal, which is going to increase the daily average of transiting vessels from the current number of 49 per day on average to what? 221 vessels on average daily basis by 2023, 70 vessels, 90 vessels, or 97 vessels. So please answer now. We're going to move quick on this answer. Again, we want to make sure there are no smart devices being used. So you've got 30 seconds on this one, everybody. All right. Greg, what you think? Is it going to come down to a tiebreaker?
Undoubtedly.
Undoubtedly. Okay.
Undoubtedly.
We've been talking, of course, the Panama Canal gets a ton of attention based on all the expansion that's been taking place there in recent years. But the Suez Canal is an incredibly important component of global trade. Okay, 10 more seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the correct answer is 97 vessels on average daily basis by 2023. So a couple of years from now, they're going to basically be just about doubling the capacity. So good stuff. Let's look at the rankings. 3 perfect answers. Okay. So what we're going to do here for Kobe, Andrea, and Daniel, we're going to have you email us the tiebreaker. And we may use 2 tiebreakers. Let's see here. So first off, let's make sure you've got the email address. So use amanda@supplychainnowradio.com to submit your tiebreaker answers, okay? Okay. All right. The second tiebreaker will be an interesting question. All right. The first tiebreaker is wrong slide. Y'all bear with me 1 minute here. Okay, first tiebreaker. This is just for the 3 players up at the top. So please email your answer. Be as specific as possible. How many items did Amazon sell on Prime Day 2019?
First correct answer wins.
First correct answer, yes. And that's, hey, judges, we've got to make a quick call there. So first correct answer does win. So Kobe, Andrea, and go back to the. I think I've got to share my screen here.
We got it.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, we were seeing the Amazon question. Is that what the
Gotcha.
one you see? Yeah.
Gotcha. So Kobe, Andrea, and Daniel, you're going to be emailing to amanda@supplychainnowradio.com. The first correct answer wins. So please get those in. Please get those in.
Top 5 as he promised, he says. So
that's right. Good job.
Even after a run, right? Showed up last minute. He's that guy in class, shows up last minute, gets an A on the test.
And I think we've got an answer.
All right.
Let me, let's see here. Greg, I want you to go through the comments for a minute while I double check with our esteemed group of judges, okay?
Yes. The judges must go into conference now. So,
yes.
Well, look, thanks to everybody who participated. I think Neja said she had some issues in Spain there, but it seems like she got back online. And Benjamin, come on, man. In your sweaty clothes, you still finished top 5. That's impressive. I want to see, where did Free-Day? Free-Day wound up in the top 5 as well. Two shows in a row. So that's pretty impressive.
We're just
somebody else
checking
guaranteeing a top 5 finish next time too. Is that Kyle? Kyle Reeves, is that you promising a top 5 finish next time around? Okay, I'm impressed. You better watch out. I'm going to lobby for a change of format somehow to break this tie, because this is a lot of work breaking a tie.
Yes, it is. All right. We are just about to announce our winner. Give me a second here. All right, we have our winner. We have our winner. So 175 million. 175 million items is how many Amazon sold Prime Day 2019. The first answer that came in was from Andrea. And Andrea, I hate to be butchering your name. It could be Andre, it could be Andrea, but you are our winner. Andrea Blackthorne. So congrats. You were the first person to break the tiebreaker and get it into our email inbox with Amanda. Daniel came in second. He came in, also got it right. So congrats to Daniel for coming in second. And of course, that means Kobe comes in third. But what an incredible competition, huh, Greg?
Yeah. Tough questions. Impressive to nail all of those. So we're going to make it even tougher next time.
Yes. You know, and this is the second platform we've used for trivia, and both of them, just like with any platform, you got your advantages and disadvantages. We like this one because we could remove the time component, which was really a challenge when you're doing a global live stream based on the lag. So, but we need a better tiebreaker system, and there's always opportunities to get better. So, congrats to all of our participants. Hey, Jenny, just to give you a heads up, I'd love to bring you back in just for a quick wrap up here in a minute. But before we do that, we want to offer up some resources to all of our participants here today. We just scheduled our next webinar. You know, last week we had Mike Griswold with Gartner walk us through the 2020 top supply chain top 25, not only the winners or the list, but the methodology behind it. And then he took some really tough questions with as our folks were diving into those rankings, right?
Yeah. And something to learn for everybody there. I think everybody knows we hold Mike in high esteem. How else could you hold him? He's a practitioner and now esteemed analyst, and he and the team at Gartner put a lot of work into that, and always expose and surface a bunch of great companies. And the thing that was particularly encouraging for me was the emphasis on environmental and corporate governance, right? They made that an even bigger part of the evaluation. So responsible and fair trade supply chain matters even more than it did before.
Yep. Great point. Good stuff there. And you can check out the replay of that webinar on our YouTube channel in particular. It's probably the easiest place for folks to get it. The webinar we just scheduled here today is all about ERP best practices in this unique environment. So check that out on June 25th. Of course, you can find that at supplychainnowradio.com. And if you can't find what you're looking for with anything we've talked about, anything from our podcast, our live streams, you name it, shoot Amanda a note, our CMO, Amanda at supplychainnowradio.com, and we'll serve as a resource for you. Okay, I want to bring in Jenny. Hey, Jenny, how about that competition?
Oh, it's fantastic. You know, you two you're great, really. There's such an energy and you do it so well. And I've had lots of WhatsApps and comments about how we've got to do this again. And this is so fantastic. So I really think we've started something that you might not be able to get out of.
Well, it's fun. And it's great for us to stretch our supply chain muscles early in the morning, right?
Exactly.
It is fun to watch people interact and to compete. And yeah, I look forward to doing it again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're in.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, Jenny, again, how can folks plug into SAPICS?
Website, LinkedIn, SAPICS, and you'll find us. And we're there.
Outstanding. And of course, our listeners will have a chance to learn a lot more about you and SAPICS as we conduct our interview and release that. Conduct it tomorrow and release that in the next couple of weeks. And as we wrap up, we need some good news, Jenny. Good news. What's one? I know SAPICS is involved in so much, and I'm putting you on the spot, I realize, but I know that y'all have got so much stuff, so much good things that you're driving at SAPICS. What is one project or conversation or event, you name it, that you're most excited about here lately?
I think what I'm most grateful for is the support, the incredible support that we've had from so many supply chain thought leaders who've given their time for us to do webinars for our community. And we've got a great event on the 23rd of June where we've got more clever people talking supply chain management.
I tell you, it takes a village for sure, whether in supply chain or other ventures and initiatives and projects and challenges. And I've seen, keeping our finger on the pulse of the SAPICS organization, clearly are rocking and rolling and serving the community in your neck of the woods and beyond in a very meaningful and impactful way. So it's always a pleasure to collaborate with you.
Thanks so much for your support. It really is so appreciated.
Okay, so with that said, Greg, any before we let Jenny go, any comments from your end with Jenny as SAPICS?
Yeah, first of all, I really appreciate you getting the whole continent involved here. I don't know if you got to see everyone, but not just the whole continent. We've got people from Europe and the Middle East and Southeast Asia as well, and I think Oceania as well. So, I appreciate you prompting us to do this at a reasonable hour in the rest of the world, right? Some people in Singapore and the like, they're probably missing their favorite show to do this. Yeah. So we appreciate their time as well.
Absolutely. Hey, Jenny Froome, COO, SAPICS, always a pleasure and looking forward to connecting tomorrow. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Greg, what a
wow.
Man, what a competition.
I thought we were going to have to call into New York there for a second, right? For a review. So
yes. Well, that's great, fierce competition, and kudos to all three winners, and for that matter, all the folks. We had a slew of folks that finished in second. They probably just missed one question. So we want to wrap here. We're a little bit over. We're at an hour and 6 minutes. That seems to be our mark. But let's wrap. We've got a slew of stuff coming out in the weeks to come. This really stands out. This is a very unique content angle and approach for us here at Supply Chain Now. But it's important. Hopefully all of our attendees, whether you're in the game or whether you just were kind of an observer participating in the comments, hopefully you got a chance to de-stress a bit. And hopefully, as we've heard from other participants in the past couple challenges, you had a chance for a little camaraderie and fellowship, whether you're a supply chain professional in Uganda or Brazil or India or right here in the States. Hopefully you made some new connections, right, Greg?
Yeah. I mean, that's the point of this, is to have a good time, take a little bit of break from everything that's going on, not just work, but everything that's going on, whatever might be going on for you, and share and gain a little bit of knowledge here.
That's right. That's right.
Competition's not a bad thing, right? It's a great opportunity, again, like we said, to stretch and exercise your supply chain muscles. So
that's right. Well, thanks to everybody for joining us here in the States in particular, where we a very uniquely challenging time. But hey, things got to change. We're figuring out how we can help address that and move the needle in a very meaningful way. And we're going to get, I know it's cliche, but truly, one of the advantages we have is we're getting through this together, and we're going to figure out the path forward. And on that note, Greg, because it's so important to be optimistic with what we're going through here now, there's going to be brighter days for everyone, much brighter days in the weeks and months to come. And with that said, Greg, on behalf of our entire team, want to invite our audience and then some to come check us out on Supply Chain Now. We'll see you next time here as we continue to spotlight the best in all things supply chain. Thanks, everybody.
Listen up.